This rich girl, Livy, gets unexpectedly pregnant and is abandoned by her boyfriend. Her father arranges a marriage with a simple man named Ray in the countryside. At their first meeting, Ray is stunned by Livy's beauty, so nervous he can't look her in the eye and his hands shake while pouring water. Livy directly asks if he would love the baby in her belly. Ray answers without hesitation, yes. They get married within 10 minutes of meeting. The wedding is simple. Ray's sister and brother-in-law serve as witnesses, the pastor's wife plays the piano, and Ray even forgets to prepare rings. Livy doesn't mind, her mind is still on her ex-boyfriend. After the wedding, Livy arrives at Ray's farm in a pickup truck. The house is the only one in sight, and the closest neighbor is Ray's sister, 13 kilometers away. Her high heels don't match the wild grass, and the unfamiliar surroundings make her anxious. Ray tries to calm her with gentle care and opens the door, saying, "Welcome home." The house is humble but tidy. To accommodate Livy's habits, Ray buys a new fridge, chilled soda, installs a water heater, and gives her the sunniest big room while he takes a cramped one. Livy realizes how considerate he is. At their first meal, Livy admits she can't cook and asks for a recipe book, but learns the library is an hour's drive away. She talks about her research on Troy, but Ray knows nothing, making things more awkward. When she asks why he married a pregnant woman, Ray says he believes it's God's will, easing her doubts. At night, they return to their own rooms. Ray writes about their first meeting in a notebook. Livy tries on earrings her sister gave her and stares at the locket with her ex-boyfriend's photo, breaking into tears. The next day, Livy sleeps in. Ray has gone to work. She walks into Ray's room and finds it neat. A pocket watch in a drawer catches her eye. Ray returns, saying he went to town early for supplies. Livy asks to drive around and call home. Ray refuses, saying the truck is hard to handle and insists on taking her himself. On the road, Livy says she wants to help with farm work, but Ray refuses again. She begins to suspect he's watching her. In town, Livy calls her sister. The sister says if Ray mistreats her, she'll come get her. Livy says he's okay but asks if there's any news about her ex. Meanwhile, Ray borrows books from the library, cookbooks, baby care guides, and books about Troy. He wants to take care of Livy and understand her better. On the way home, Ray teaches Livy to drive. She realizes the truck really is hard to handle and understands Ray wasn't trying to control her. She smiles for the first time after learning to drive. When she asks if the workers in the fields are his, Ray says it's our farm. Livy doesn't respond, she hasn't accepted that role yet. Ray is thoughtful. During church service, when gossiping women ask about Livy, Ray quickly takes her away. Livy feels respected for the first time, but she still misses her ex and secretly mails him a letter when Ray isn't looking. Noticing her sadness, Ray takes Livy boating. She feels relaxed, dips her feet in the water, and Ray can't help but glance at her. He says he just wants her to feel at ease. Livy's heart stirs. Gradually, Livy adapts to farm life. She meets two Japanese-American women assigned to the farm after Pearl Harbor. They're studying butterflies. Livy enjoys talking with them and invites them over next time. Life seems to be improving. One prenatal checkup unsettles Livy. The due date is earlier than expected, meaning the baby will arrive by their 5th month of marriage. She worries people will gossip about Ray not being the biological father. But Ray doesn't care, saying people will wish them well. Livy feels slightly relieved. To repay Ray, Livy cooks spicy scrambled eggs. Ray gets red-faced from the heat but praises the dish, sneaking water behind her back. Suddenly, there's a loud rumble. It's the pool Ray is digging for her. She once casually said she loved swimming. He remembered and plans for her and the baby to enjoy it next summer. Livy is touched to find herself in his future. Ray's sister's family comes to help. Their niece asks about Livy's locket but is cut off by her mother. From her sister-in-law, Livy learns that Ray is trying to please her but she still resists accepting it. Ray takes her to his sister's birthday party. Livy claims she can't dance. At the party, Ray's tapping hands betray his desire to dance. Livy invites him. He dances well. She follows and blends into the crowd. The family's toast makes her long for a happy home. The two Japanese-American sisters visit Livy again. They're well-educated and quickly become close. Livy tells Ray, who offhandedly says, Japanese. She is upset, thinking he's prejudiced. Ray's explanation doesn't help. At a dinner gathering, Ray's brother-in-law asks about next year's soybean planting. Livy, unsure, just shakes her head. Ray says he's thinking about Troy, surprising Livy. He briefly shares his thoughts, then gives the floor to her. She passionately talks about her field and asks if he'll plant soybeans. Ray smiles, and the dinner ends joyfully. On the way home, they exchange tender glances. At the stairs, Ray tries to get closer, but Livy pulls away. She closes the door, heart racing. Ray continues rising with the sun, working the fields, and studying archaeology with borrowed books in his spare time. Livy stays home, peacefully nurturing the baby. One day, Livy's sister visits unexpectedly. Seeing the rough surroundings and Livy's ill-fitting clothes, she's heartbroken. She urges Livy to return to the city, saying her husband is away at war and needs company. It would be easier to give birth and resume studies. She even suggests spreading rumors that Ray drinks and is abusive, but Livy firmly refuses. She can't bear to defame Ray. Before her sister returns to the city, Livy asks her to mail a letter to her ex-boyfriend. She just wants a clear answer. Livy tells Ray about her sister's plan. Seeing that Livy chooses to stay willingly, Ray can't help but hum a tune his father used to sing, hoping to get it right before the baby is born. Livy slowly gets used to life here. She often drives the Japanese sisters around. When they notice her clothes don't fit her growing belly, they sew maternity dresses for her. Their bond grows stronger. One day, Livy finds an air raid shelter filled with old items. Thrilled, she drags them home and excitedly shows Ray. But the next day, she returns to find Ray burning the items. Livy is furious, explaining they're part of his family history. Ray realizes his mistake, quickly puts out the fire, and sincerely apologizes with what he managed to save. Though Ray doesn't understand how those things count as history, he knows they matter to Livy and says he's willing to do anything for her. Seeing him so nervous, Livy feels a little sorry for him. The next morning, Livy finds a note and a flashlight on the table. The note says there are more old items she might like in the basement and warns her about the dust. In the basement, Livy finds even more treasures. Overjoyed, she brings them home to clean and display, adding a touch of history to the house. She even hangs an old plow board on the wall. Ray is fine with anything as long as it makes her happy. Ray takes Livy to visit the family graves. She learns that Ray had a younger brother who died in the Pearl Harbor attack. Ray believes he should have gone to war in his brother's place. Livy doesn't know how to comfort him, so she just gently strokes his back. Their bond grows deeper. Ray installs a telephone at home so Livy can call her family more easily. Livy plants a small garden, silently changing for Ray. Winter arrives. Snow falls heavily. She even lets in the dog she once disliked to keep warm indoors. Every day, she looks forward to Ray's return, preparing candlelit dinners. But today, Ray comes home unusually irritable. He grabs the dog by the neck and tells it to get out, saying dogs aren't allowed inside, it's a family rule. He pulls out the letter Livy received from her ex. He can't accept that his deep love was taken lightly. He walks out into the snow, saying he has to work late. Watching him leave, Livy finally realizes how wrong she was. The next day, Livy gets up early to make breakfast. Ray refuses but speaks gently. Livy apologizes using the dog as an excuse, and admits she once peeked in Ray's drawer, curious about the pocket watch. Ray explains it belonged to his father. It reminds him of how well his father treated his mother, and he wants to be a gentleman too. Livy chokes up and apologizes. Ray turns to leave, but seeing her teary eyes, he kisses her. This is their first kiss. Livy doesn't resist, but doesn't respond either. Feeling her hesitation, Ray walks away. Livy braves the snow to visit Ray's sister. She says her ex denied being the father. She has been hurt by him, and now she's hurting Ray too. She feels deeply guilty. Ray's sister tells her that if she plans to leave, she should do it soon. Prolonging it will only make the hurt worse. Livy decides to leave after Thanksgiving. That night, Livy has a nightmare and wakes Ray with her cries. Ray comforts her, which makes her even more ashamed. She keeps thanking him for his care. On Thanksgiving, Ray joins Livy in delivering gifts to the Japanese sisters. The younger sister asks Livy to take her and her boyfriend for a drive, and Livy agrees. At dinner, Livy thanks everyone, saying the love she has received in less than 5 months surpasses what her father gave her in 25 years. For the first time, she feels the warmth of a real family. Only Ray's sister realizes it's a farewell speech. Back home, Livy packs her things. As she comes downstairs, she sees Ray waiting at the door. He breaks family rules and lets the dog inside. With tears in his eyes, he asks her to stay. He says he has fallen in love with her, she's the best thing in his life, and he will do everything to make her happy. He even pulls out the wedding ring he never had a chance to give her. Livy drives out for the appointment. Looking at the ring, she smiles. When she meets the sisters and the younger one's boyfriend, she realizes he's a German POW, not a guard. The so-called drive is actually to help him escape. Livy warns the younger sister, then kicks them both out of the car. She says sending just the man out will draw less attention. But she drives him home, has him change into Ray's clothes, and leaves the car keys out in the open, giving him a chance to escape. As the man drives off, she calls the police and then calls Ray. Her water has broken. The man runs out of gas and gets caught. Livy burns his fake uniform, rips off the locket with her ex's photo, and throws it into the fire, fully letting go of the past. Ray rushes home. Livy safely gives birth to a baby boy. Ray gently holds the child and hums the lullaby his father used to sing. Livy looks at him and knows she made the right choice. She is completely in love with him now. Winter fades and spring arrives. The flowers Livy planted last year bloom. They embark on their journey of happiness together.